Celebrate Women's Month and to highlight women's stories and how they strive to make it in the different sectors. Today we have in studio one phenomenal woman, Phumeza Langalibalele, the Managing Director from Mlungisi Healthcare. Good afternoon to you. Thank you so much for coming through.
Good afternoon, Palisa.
Now,
Good afternoon to the listeners.
Thank you. Mlungisi Healthcare is an independent, 100% black, female-owned South African company that provides healthcare solutions and also supplies surgical and medical-related products. So, you've worked for over 20 years, both in the private and the public sector, before you started this business. Talk to us about your role really during the 20 years.
Thank you, Palisa. I've worked in the industry for more than 20 years, as you have just said, but mainly in the public sector. And the last 2.5 years before starting the business, I went to contribute in the public sector. So my role really, I worked as a pharmacist, but just for 18 months, I realized that I didn't like it. So I did a lot of business courses, studied, and I decided to branch in business. So I studied a lot in the business sector and combined the healthcare with business. So I worked in the companies, including the biggest hospital groups in the industry. I worked in the parastatals, Transmed. I also did some locums here and there, and I did a lot of consulting work in between, using the experience that I've gained while I was working in both the public and the private sector. Yes.
But the idea of starting your own business, as you have just told us now that you are a pharmacist, but it's something that's not really close to your heart. This business idea, has it always been there, or is it something that you sort of developed over time?
To be honest with you, I've always been very restless at work. I've had very high positions, but always looked for something that will satisfy me. So that's why I started this business. I registered it in 2011 and started operating it in 2015.
Every business has its own challenges. Let's just talk about the difficulties. And I know one challenge that's forever mentioned by entrepreneurs is the issue of financial resources. Your challenges that you had to endure during the startup of this business.
Wow. You are so right, Palisa. When we started the business, we struggled so much financially. In fact, I got the first order. I was still alone then. During the month number 13 in the business.
Like a year and month later.
A month later. But what
and how did you survive? Because I suppose as much as you concentrating on building this business, you've got to earn a living as well. You've got responsibilities. How did you survive throughout the 13 months?
Fortunately, Palisa, I'm very multi-skilled. As I said before, I've started in business and my experience has helped me so much that I started consulting. So during that time, I was consulting to other businesses while I was building the business. In fact, the 2 employees that I started with, they started working with me before the income stream came from the core business of the company. So they joined me and we paid them. But our really biggest challenge was, even when we got our first contract, we struggled so much. We couldn't meet our obligations, so we had to not to take all the items, all the products that we were given on contracts, because we just couldn't finance them. We went to many government institutions, we went to the banks, and nobody wanted to look at us. Nobody would give us money at that time. So I ended up cashing up some of my pension money to start the business.
Which was a big risk, isn't it?
Indeed, it was a big risk.
Yeah, but it paid off at the end of the day.
Exactly.
Let's talk about, we've spoken about challenges in business as a whole, but the challenges that you come across as a woman in business, the perceptions around the capabilities of women in the business industry.
I must say, Palisa, we have been so fortunate in our company because we do have some backup from some of the big corporates. I don't know if without them, how everything would have panned out. We are in the program of enterprise development, for instance, of Netcare. So they've really assisted us in terms of giving us the business and supporting us to really, in terms of making the business really to kickstart off the ground. We also do a little bit of business from the government. But the challenges, as you are mentioning, that women have is people not taking you seriously in business, especially in the public sector, whereby you get people, you get those calls that, if you want to get this business, this is what you want to give up. This is what you should, give up. So usually we just don't take those.
Yeah, indeed. But in terms of competition, obviously you're competing against the big brands. Is that an advantage or disadvantage? Because you say that you are under some mentorship programs by some of the big brands. How are you seeing competition in this industry?
The industry itself is very competitive, not just from the big companies. It's with the smaller companies as well. There are lots of players in the industry. There's also a lot of competition from the multinationals. I don't know if I can call it competitions or more than call it that they are more dominating the industry. They've been there for years, and change is not something that is very easy. For once people have been using a specific product over the years, we have to work very hard. And the thing is, even though we are small, we are still like a growing business. We are expected to perform in terms of quality and the service as much as the bigger ones.
Which is a bit unfair, isn't it? Yeah.
In a way, yes.
But keeps you on your toes
It keeps
as
us
well.
on our toes, yes. So it's been a lot of work, a lot of hard work, and it's been very rewarding, I must say.
Yeah. So representation of women in this industry, how are you seeing it? Do we have enough women in this industry?
If you look at the industry as a whole, it's got a lot of multinationals. It's got a lot of males. Now there is a lot of females that are creeping in, female businesses that are creeping into the industry. But in our company, specifically, we are really biased towards women.
Okay, so is it just women?
Just women, yeah.
And the performance?
The performance is good because I really believe that women do work hard, but also there are other reasons that we are biased towards women in our company. Which are, if you look at the whole gender workforce equality, we're trying to balance the workforce between the males and the females. We're also looking at the single parent responsibilities. Because what we've realized, as you have seen, there's so many women that are single-handedly looking after their kids. So we kind of make sure that at least those that we do touch or we work with them do have employment, because we know that that is helping towards raising their kids. It's also helping towards their education. And also the gender-based violence issue, that a woman doesn't entirely depend on their partner or on their husband.
All right, so where to from here? What are you hoping for in 5 years?
We are not hoping, Palisa. We are working towards achieving great things in the next 5 years. We have signed up with a manufacturer that is very innovative in terms of the products that they produce. We have just implementing one of their products now, and we have signed an exclusive agreement with them. When we reach a certain amount in terms of those items, which is reachable basically, they are coming down here to build a factory.
Wow, so izongena imali.
Izongena,
yes. We'll leave it at this for now. Thank you so much for coming through, and all the best going forward. A quick message to women who have that interest in business but still have that fear that, should I leave my daily job for a business? What would you say to them?
Quick one, I would like to say that start with what you know. This is one lesson that I have learned the hard way, burned a bit of my fingers. Start with what you know and persevere. The hard work and the perseverance does pay off. And lots of networking. Do network and never burn your bridges, because you never know who's going to help you. You need the people, yes, as you venture there in the business.
You've said it all. Thank you so much for coming through.
Thank you.
That was Phumeza Langalibalele, the Managing Director from Mlungisi Healthcare, sharing with us her story. This, of course, as we continue to celebrate Women's Day, we bring you different stories of women across the country.